Jessica Vega Pederson was elected to a 4-year term as chair of the Multnomah County Commission in 2022. As chief executive of the state's largest county, the former tech company project manager and state legislator oversees a nearly $4 billion budget with responsibilities including health, jails, housing, and homeless services. Multnomah County Chair Jessica Vega Pederson, welcome to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thanks so much, Ken. It's great to be here.
Well, Multnomah County gets between $140 $190 million, depending upon what numbers you see, from the Metro Supportive Housing Services Tax. Now Metro is considering using some of that money to build and develop housing on their own. We had Metro Council President Lynn Peterson on a couple of weeks ago, and here's what she said about that.
A lot of good has been done, but at the same time, not enough is happening. And I think that while we all have empathy, we are all, including me, a little impatient about even more being done.
What do you think about that, and what do you think of Metro's proposal to shift some of that supporting housing services tax money?
Yeah, well, you know, this continues to be the most critical issue that we are working on at Multnomah County as a region with the cities and with the other counties. So this conversation is so important. We have been working hard at the county for years in addressing homelessness and really trying to provide services, support, and safety for people as they get a pathway to housing. I know myself and our new board are deeply committed to this work. The work that's happening with the supportive housing service measure is incredibly important work for Multnomah counties and the other two counties. We received about $140 million in SHS dollars last year. We've put those dollars to work, but we have also always been adding to those dollars with general fund dollars from the county, from the city of Portland, from state resources. The thing that I don't think a lot of people realize is this is just the third year that we've actually received the dollars from the SHS measure. So the ramp up that we've been able to do over the last 3 years has been important, and we're getting really good results, and I want to talk a little bit about that. But I know it has been frustrating because there has been a ramp up period when you have all of this new money coming into the system. It does take a little time to build that system up so that you can put that money to the good work that it needs to do.
What are the results so far with the money that you have been able to get? What have you been able to do with it?
Yeah. So in the last year, for instance, with SHS dollars, we've been able to put 2,230 people with SHS dollars into rehousing. So we've been able to rehouse that number. That's with SHS dollars. On top of that, or in addition to that, we have 5,500 people total with SH dollars, plus these other state and general fund dollars that we have that we've been able to get people back into housing too. So we're really putting that money into getting people safely off the streets, expanding our shelter ecosystem, and making sure that people have that flow through from shelter into housing.
What about the thought that it's not happening fast enough?
Yeah. Oh, no. You know, I recognize that. And I think it's hard when people see someone who's on the sidewalk or they see a tent somewhere. They're like, why isn't this person getting help? And to address that, we have ramped up immensely the number of shelters that we've opened. Since 2020, we have opened 17 new shelters in Multnomah County, and we have planned to increase the number of beds through the homeless response system and the homeless response action plan by an additional 1,000 beds over the 2-year period. And we are well on our way to doing that. So people are going to see that. They should be seeing more shelters, more services, more resources all across the county happening. We have beds right now, right? One of the things I was really proud of was the partnership with Mayor Keith Wilson in opening up 200 winter overnight beds. So those beds are open. We have space in those beds. If people are looking for a shelter space, they should call 211 because we have places for people to go.
And working downtown, we do notice things are getting better on the streets.
Yeah.
There's still a ways to go, but they are getting better. There has been an apparent disconnect over the past couple of years between Multnomah County and the city of Portland when it comes to housing strategy. We have a new mayor, we have a new city council now, so I would imagine that dynamic is changing. We recently had Jillian Shoney on. She's the director of Multnomah County's homelessness response system, and here's what she said about the relationship between the city and the county. Do you see that relationship between the city and the county getting better?
Well, and that's my job, just to put a finer point on it. My job is to make sure that we continue with the collaboration and talking with one another and working the problem together.
What was that disconnect all about, and how are things different now if they are?
Yeah. Well, I've been excited to work with the mayor. I've been very excited to work with the new city council, and I know my board is very excited about the opportunity with them too. I will say my office had a great relationship with Mayor Wheeler's office and the work there. We were able to negotiate a new intergovernmental agreement between the city and the county that really recognized the different perspectives that each of our governments have in addressing this issue and our responsibilities that we have as we're addressing this issue. And the basis of that is the plan of action of the things that we are going to accomplish together to really resolve homelessness. We had strong commitment from the mayor and the majority of the city council that's coming in that they wanted to continue that IGA, they want to continue that work together. And so that's the basis that we have as we begin these new terms with these new commissioners and new city councilors.
Sounds like there's a little more optimism along those lines now. The Multnomah County Deflection Center, or Coordinated Care Pathway Center, where people can go instead of being arrested if they're caught with drugs. Opened in October, about a month later than planned, but the latest numbers show that 176 deflections have been initiated. There have been 339 referrals to treatment and services. Are you satisfied with those numbers, or can we do more with the deflection center?
Yeah, so, it was really hard to estimate what those numbers would be before, since this was a brand new thing. And those were about the numbers that we expected. And I've been so pleased about the really incredible relationship that our provider, that our health department team has with law enforcement in making those connections for people from who are in addiction, who are out on the street, and who are getting that pathway into resources and services. So we want that work to continue. A really exciting thing that's happening is at our Pathway Center, where deflection has been taking place, we are going to be expanding the services. So we're in the next few months, we're actually going to be adding 13 sobering beds to that site, as well as some additional treatment. So even, expanding that continuum of services that people have available for them. And that's a prelude to the permanent site that we are working on for sobering and deflection that will be happening in the next few years. One of the things that we have been talking about, so this is the law enforcement, like Chief Day and our district attorney, as well as our health department folks, our courts, is what is the next thing we can do? How can we take some of these really great resources that have been built at the Pathway Center and expand that to more people who are going to be able to use them? Right now, the kind of chokehold that we have in the system is that law enforcement officers have so much work that they have to do that they don't always have the capacity to be talking to people individually that might be eligible for deflection. So we want to take advantage of service providers who are out there already doing some great work on the streets, the outreach workers, and seeing if there are pathways we can use there to get people to those services. So it's expanding the concept of deflection a bit, but so that we're getting more people who might be on the street, who might be using, who need that recovery assistance to get to recovery services, addiction services, into our pathway system, get those additional resources to detox, to treatment that people need. So we want to expand that and make that available to as many people as possible.
Last thing now, because we're almost out of time, but those commission meetings before between with you and former Commissioner Sharon Myron, they're the stuff of legend. Here's one exchange over ambulance services about a year ago.
Cost by
Please do not interrupt.
Just about saving lives when you're talking about an agenda item. I'm sorry, it's just hard to take.
And that was just one of the number of exchanges that you had. Myron was term limited out, so she's no longer on the commission. There are two new commissioners now, Megan Moyer, Shannon Singleton, and three if you count Vince Jones-Dixon, who was elected in May. Has the dynamic on the county commission changed?
Yeah, it's really a new day in Multnomah County. I mean, we have three people who are on the commission now who are, have their own opinions, have great subject matter expertise in the work of the county, who are coming in with a lot that they want to accomplish, but they also respect the work that's done by our county employees. They believe in the power of our government to make the changes that we want to see happen in our community, and there is a shared commitment to treat each other with respect for our positions, respect for the work that we have to do. In December, when people, even before they were elected in office, we had a day-long board retreat with the new members, which was fantastic, and we shared our priorities and the way of working together. I'm really excited about the work we've done so far and what we are still going to accomplish.
We'll end it there. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you so much.